Well, this is an article from IGN, always reliable. Sony is quietly raising prices on its games on Steam in certain regions. This is from Christina Alexander. While inflation has been cooling down in a lot of places, Sony has quietly raised PlayStation game prices on Steam in select regions. Reset Era user Chairman Chuck spotted the price increases for PS4 and PS5 on Steam DB affecting several regions, including Argentina, Canada, Chile, China, Colombia, Japan, and South Korea. The games that have been affected by inflated prices include Sackboy, Returnal, oh, my thing refreshed all of a sudden, which was ported over to PC back in February, Marvel Spider-Man Remastered, Marvel Spider-Man Miles Morales, Horizon Zero Dawn, Days Gone, and God of War 2018. According to PlayStation Lifestyle, who confirmed the findings, the aforementioned games experienced price jumps on Steam between April 14th and April 19th. However, how much they cost now depends on the year they were released in. For example, Returnal may carry a higher price tag since it came out in 2021, while Horizon Zero Dawn may be generously cheaper given that it was released in 2017. If you live in any of the following countries, here are the prices you will expect to see when you are looking for your favorite PlayStation games on the Steam store. I'm going to go through just a couple of these real quickly. Argentina, from 4,199 to 5,999 pesos to 8,499 to 9,999 pesos. You know what? There's so many different currencies here that probably not many people are familiar on.
It's a lot. It's a lot. But the listed countries affected: Argentina, Canada, Chile, China, Colombia, Japan, and South Korea. And the way that they're increased doesn't really seem to make any sense, because some of them are, simple 10 to quick $20 increase, whatever. Some of them double in price, like how you just listed in Argentina, going from 4,199 to 8,499. That's a double. Why? I don't know. And PlayStation doesn't seem to tell us why. And IGN later states in the article that they haven't, officially acknowledged the price jump or made any type of statement about it. So this is weird. And I don't quite know why it's happening and why they constantly seem to be increasing prices for everywhere but the United States. So I don't know. This is very, very strange move for PlayStation, especially on the PC front, where they so desperately want to start gaining traction and, making splashes here to punish your PC players like this. It's just strange. Effect. It's just strange, right? Like, why do this? And to not have an official statement ready for it is even weirder. Of like, hey man, yeah, we got to do it for price increases and player counts, and the bean counters decided that these countries have to raise prices at this rate or something. Why? And you're the only ones doing it. On top of the fact, sales are down this year for everyone. PC, Xbox, Switch, everything. Except for, guess who, Connor? Ding, 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 PlayStation. PlayStation are the only ones in the industry whose sales are up, both in software and in hardware. So what gives? Why? Why are we doing this?
I think this is an echo that we're finally hearing of what the core reason is for the price increases in general, which is greed. It effectively is. Wages haven't gone up. The video game industry has just made more and more money. We know it makes tons of money. We know it makes more than movies do, which is one of the other biggest pieces of entertainment out there. So it's not hurting. It's doing good, and yet we had these price increases a little while ago across the entire board, all throughout the industry, and now PlayStation's doing it again. It really makes me worried when I hear these acquisitions and these growing monopolies of Sony and Microsoft, because it leads me to think, well, once they gain enough control over the marketplace, they're going to start abusing the power that they hold to do prices however they feel like it, just to get a little bit more money. And once again, the changes they bring up just don't really make sense when you're making money hand over foot, even every single year. More and more games top their last, God of War, the new one, Ragnarok, made tons more money than 2018 did when it first came out. There's no real, good reason for why they've increased the game prices in recent years, besides greed, besides them just wanting more money. And the fact that they're trying to just ignore this and hope no one really takes, notice of it, probably is a good reason as to explain why they haven't said anything on this. It's because they feel like, oh, well, these people in these countries have to play our games on Steam, so we're just going to increase the prices and not really give them an option, because you either pay the money that we're making you pay, or you don't get to play the game because you don't have a PlayStation. it's an ultimatum that makes sense when your main profit is to squeeze as much money out of your consumers as possible. And I think this goes a long way to describing why they've done this in the way they have.
It just feels like shooting yourself in the foot. Like,
Yeah.
you are not established in the PC space, PlayStation, so there's just really no need for this. Like, if anything, maybe you should discount these games because they're kind of old. Like, there's nothing really that new on PC. Is Horizon Forbidden West on PC yet? I don't even know if it is. I don't think it is. But, like, Returnal is a couple years old at this point. Spider-Man is multiple years old at this point. God of War, old. Like, for what reason would I want, as a PC gamer, to play this game? And especially when they don't even come out working all the time. You look at The Last of Us Part 1, its PC port is a mess. It's just glitches all over the place and problems galore and save files getting corrupted. Why would I, as a gamer, want to subject myself to that? To buy a PlayStation? These games didn't attract me to buy a PlayStation when they came out. Why would they attract me to buy a PlayStation now? I just think it's just a weird way of punishing players, and I don't want to jump to, the only motivation was greed, but from the outside consumer perspective, it's hard to see it as anything else but greed. So I think this is a bad move by PlayStation, and optically, I just don't. Optically, I don't think they could find a way to spin it, so they just didn't say anything about it. And like, I mean, admittedly, like, some of these markets are not your biggest markets, like Argentina or Chile or South Korea. Like, I don't think they're like itching to play God of War. Like, it just doesn't really seem like their cup of tea from what you typically see from those markets. But Canada and Japan, like, why? But, like, at the same time, why would you do this? Like, this really doesn't seem like you're going to get any more profit out of it. It seems like you're just going to lose profit from this, especially when, you look at Argentina and their prices doubled. What?
Yeah. And in Japan, we covered this pretty recently. They have a lockdown on that country. PlayStation does. Sony does. Microsoft admitted that, what was the number? 96% of,
it's huge.
Of gamers there play
96, 97, something like that.
Yeah, something ridiculously high number. I mean, that's a market where you have a dedicated fan base, and that you're going to increase prices again after you already have been. Part of this, the way it's been done and who's been affected by this, almost makes me think this was an accident on some level somewhere, and they're so embarrassed.
Somebody clicked the wrong number and hit enter.
Yeah, right. It's like, I didn't mean to. Maybe some disgruntled employee. Who knows? But maybe we'll see them say something about this, or maybe they'll just be quiet. We have to wait and see.
Like when I scheduled the podcast for the wrong day, I'm like, oh, that was supposed to come out today. Oops.
Oh well. But I hope they change this. I really do. It doesn't affect me, but that doesn't change anything. It doesn't change the fact it's stupid. It doesn't change the fact it's greedy.
Yeah, man. And like on top of that, like, yeah, sure. PlayStation makes probably the best games in the industry right now. They pay the money to have the biggest studios to attract the most talent, yada yada yada. But when you have deals just as, if not more competitive, especially in the PC market, like Game Pass, if your premier titles didn't attract me to buy a PlayStation to go play them, putting them on PC, yeah, that's cool. I now get to play these games. But when you jack up the price like this so much, honestly, I'm just gonna get a Game Pass and keep playing the games I've been playing, or have free access to all these games, quote unquote free access to these games that have been keeping me more than satisfied for years at this point. So yeah, I just don't know what your plan is with this PlayStation.